Right now I'm working on about the 30th tape in a projected series of 365. And so it's supposed to be one tape for every day of the year. I knew by the time I was a teenager that I was going to be an artist. There was no doubt about that. There was nothing else for me to be. I think coming out of Catholicism, I have a real interest in ritual. I mean, ritual is beautiful, but I never was a believer. Yet, I think my interest in art all along has been in trying to develop a kind of materialist ritual. And I see all art as being a kind of materialist ritual. When I first started working with stuffed animals, I was responding to a lot of the dialogue in the 80s about commodity culture. But I was really surprised that when everybody looked at these works I made, they all thought it was about child abuse. Now that wasn't anything I expected. And not only did they think it was about child abuse, they thought it was about my abuse. So I said, well, that's really interesting. I have to go with that. I have to make all my work about my abuse. And not only that, about everybody's abuse, like that this is our shared culture. This is the presumption that all motivation is based on some kind of repressed trauma. My work is very reactive. I'd make something, I get a response that I had no idea I was going to get. I don't reject it. I embrace it. I run with it. You know, that tells me what to do. I decided to go back to my originating trauma, which was my student training. And so I took all these drawings that I did in college as an undergraduate, which are perversions of Hoffmanesque compositional principles, and I relearned to paint that way. And I did this series. This is the first series of paintings I did in this regressive manner. They're called the 13 Seasons. They're oval. I broke from the rectangular form because the oval, again, has no end. And so it's eternal. It's eternally recurring abuse. In this kind of trauma literature, the parts you can't remember, it's called missing time, and then you recover it. Because I work so much with various kinds of tropes, or image tropes, or music tropes, or performative tropes, it interests me to try to bring them into my system in certain ways, you know, and incorporate them. It's part of this whole process of working through things. Things start simple and get more complex. Sense always comes after the fact in my work. To make it at first glance acceptable, like I've seen something that before, or I understand that. So it has to operate on multiple levels. It has to be available to the laziest viewer on a certain level, and then on a more sophisticated viewer as well. I think what I make is beautiful. I think it's beautiful because terms are confused and divisions between categories start to slip. And that produces what I think is a sublime effect, or it produces humor. and both things interest me. And I guess I'm interested in a kind of sublime play or sublime humor. Well, behind the mule is a man, and then the fake horse.
Oh, that's better. That's even better.
Yeah.
You got a man in there to
Yeah.
fill up the gap. That's
Yeah.
better.
The man is the pitchfork demon?
It's the pitchfork
Stan?
guy.
It's Stan, if you could get him.
Yeah.
And tell him not to swing his pitchfork around.
Yeah, do something like that. Stomp, stomp, stomp.
Come on in.
And then go. Day is Done, the project I'm working on right now, is kind of built around a mythos that relates to an earlier sculpture I did called the Educational Complex, which is a model of every school I ever went to, plus the home I grew up in, with all the parts I can't remember left blank. I think I want to try it when these cheerleaders get to about here to give me a big scream, you know, like,
From the
whoa!
audience?
Like, that's the most wonderful thing you've ever seen.
The audience, would you do a big scream?
Yeah,
Should
so
they
let-
raise
so-
their
yeah,
arms
so-
like that?
No, just so
Okay.
let me, I don't know, let me see it. Let's hear a big wah! Yeah, arms is good. Lift the arms up. Whoa! Action. All these videos are based on high school yearbooks. It's not because I have any interest in high school or high school culture, but it's one of the few places where you can find photographs of these kinds of rituals. Stand this way a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay.
It's really close.
It won't be the same.
Okay, it's fine. The image is the same.
The image is,
The relationships are the same. Almost all of this comes from writing. And then later I tried to say, well, how can it be visually interesting? It has narrative elements, but it's not straight narrative. All the writing is associative, and it comes from my own experience, but it's very hard to say to disentangle memories of films or books or cartoons or plays from real experience. It all gets mixed up. So in a way, I don't make such distinctions. And I see it all as a kind of fiction.
I can't walk by myself. I'm not responsible.
When I was younger, all my writing was generated for performance work.
I'm the sailor, but I don't have sea legs. But I don't walk and I don't talk.
So this project is very much a way for me to get back into writing, and because I don't have the time just to do it, I have to work it into my work somehow. It's like music. I didn't have time to play music anymore, so I had to make a project where that had to have music in it, so I forced myself to make music. I never had any musical training. I grew up in a household where there was really very little interest in music, and they didn't teach music in school. And I grew up on rock and roll music, and all the musicians I knew were self-taught. And I've been playing noise music for many, many years. But this project's really different because this is like no other music I've ever done, because it's all based on really typical forms. But I know enough about that where I can fake it. And I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't say, oh, that's this chord or that's this note, but I know what it sounds like. And so we can piece it all together, and it's believable. Am I going to hear the orchestra sample too?
Yeah, you'll hear what you just did.
Okay.
Here we go.
With the computer, we can do everything ourselves. We don't need to get an orchestra. We can do all the editing here. We can make films by ourselves. My dream is to perform it live.
Let the final procession begin.
So that the whole thing is performed, like, say, in a 24-hour period. So the day stands for the year. It's very much like a passion play. Though a somewhat formalized and ridiculous passion play, though its ridiculousness is purposeful. I think that's the joyfulness of it. But then it's a black humor, it's a mean humor, so it's a critical joy. It's, you know, it's negative joy. But that's art, I think, you know, for me at least. That's what separates it from the folk art that I'm going to, that I still think the social function of art is that kind of negative aesthetic. Otherwise, there's no social function for it.
To learn more about Art 21, Art in the 21st Century, and to download the free Educator's Guide, please visit PBS online at pbs.org. Art 21, Art in the 21st Century is available on videocassette or with additional features on DVD. The companion book to the program is also available. To order, call PBS Home Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS.